first time I truly felt loneliness was when I moved to Paris by myself at the age of 16. Back then, my mother was very occupied with her own separation, and I knew that I couldn't rely on her. It was then that I got familiar with this idea, that emptiness that I felt. It's appropriate to experience it when you're surrounded by a support system, and it's a very different experience too. Welcome back to Not Alone, a podcast where connection and curiosity come first. So it's been a season of life for me. I know that I share things on social media, but if there is one platform where I can really bear my heart out and lay it all out for you, is this. So let's catch up a little bit because I am past my birthday party. I know I had a whole episode speaking on the lessons of my 35th year of life, but my birthday was also a very interesting month for me because I did something that was very much outside of my comfort zone, which is throwing a birthday party. That was already like a huge thing for me because I have a PTSD when it comes to that. I think growing up with a mother that was throwing big parties all the time, and for her it's go big or go home type of thing, it always paralyzed me. So really trying to move away from it throughout the years as an adult and just doing small little things like family dinners and stuff like that has been pretty comforting for me. But this year it's 35th, I'm very much leaving a certain identity behind, so I was like, why not, let's do this. The best decision, by the way, because I was really just soaking it all in. I'm sure you know that feeling of standing in a room filled with people that you love, that inspire you, and just feeling that energy. It really is something so special. So I'm very happy that I did that. It came with its own battles and lessons for sure. It was 100% worth it. I think that the most memorable aspect of it was definitely the energy in the room, but also I woke up the next day and I literally do not remember talking to anybody because I was just on the dance floor the whole time. I do remember Dennis, my older brother, coming to me being like, where's this stamina from? Because I was actually sick as a dog and no one knew and didn't have not even a cocktail. I was just leaving it all out on that dance floor. I don't know what it was. It was a bigger force that came out of me. So that was definitely a memorable moment for me. Some of the things that I'll remember forever is that moment when everybody sang happy birthday and you just kind of look around the room and people just really like burn into your memory, So it was really special. I did it my way, not the way my mother wanted it to happen, which was also a big win for me. It was just a big old dance party with the best music ever. So that's a big check mark. The reason why I'm saying it was kind of a big month for me because we had our family dinner, which was just our family. My mother was extremely emotional. We spoke about it before. If you didn't listen to my previous solo, I was actually talking about how I'm going through this transition of learning how to be emotional without equating it to chaos because my mother doesn't really know how to regulate that. So, just learning all the things that I've learned from therapy and observing myself in these situations. That was a big part of my birthday for sure, because again, it's an emotional time, for my mother. And I totally understand that as a mother. So was kind of working through that. And then we also had the birthday party, and then we had the Rosh Hashanah, which is a Jewish New Year, which is a big moment for us because it really marks a beginning, right? The beginning of this new year. The way we open it and the way we kind of move into it is very important. So I was also trying to focus my energy into being present and being able to move into this new year with the intention, with very clear understanding of what I want to take and what I want to leave behind. By the way, all of this is happening in a span of like 4 or 5 days. And then we had Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is also a big Jewish kind of moment where you fast for 24 hours and you basically ask for forgiveness for your sins. And again, just really cleaning out anything you want to leave behind. There was a lot of energy, there was a lot of introspection, there was a lot of everything. And while doing that, I was also trying to be present for my work and my kids and all the things. So it was a pretty heavy month. And I just remember for Yom Kippur, I told the kids, you know what, let's go to the beach. And we did like this little ritual that Jake led, which was really sweet. We went into the ocean and we asked the question of, okay, what do you want to leave behind? And what do you want to bring forward? And then we kind of dipped into the ocean, and that felt like a symbolic way to start the year. And that's it. We're done. Guys, I am ready to move on. I really did, honestly. This month was also really packed with travel. I had New York Fashion Week, which was a great experience in and out. And then I went to Paris. And I know that I touched on a couple of my kind of modeling stories throughout the years, if it's on my YouTube channel or in other formats. But as I get older, I realize how monumental those experiences were for my identity and who I am today and how I view the world. And, going back to Paris this year, I go back once a year or so, but I'm usually so entrenched in the work that I don't have or don't even give myself ability to just kind of go back in time and really revisit certain memories that I have from Paris. But this time, again, I think it was based on where it landed, September. I was truly very in tune with myself, very introspective, and my schedule gave me the opportunity to also experience Paris a little bit differently. So I just remember landing and this flood of memories came back to me. So just to give you some context, I went to Paris at the age of, I would say I was almost 16 or 16 already. That was my first travel abroad for work. Back then, I was living in Israel, and my mother couldn't come with me, and I just went by myself. I was with an agency, with a big agency, IMG. I stayed at a model apartment. When I was walking down the streets of Paris, with this newfound respect for myself, understanding of who I am, a lot of years went by. It just kind of hit me, the feeling that I had walking down these streets at the age of 16, feeling so lost and truly had no understanding of where I am and what I'm doing. This was also during a period when my mother and my stepfather went through a separation. So Paris was a little bit of an escape for me. And it was also the first time that I was hit with the idea of loneliness. I never had that before. I think that not a lot of us experience it because we don't find ourselves, alone during those years usually. But at the age of 15, 16, to all of a sudden find yourself in this big city coming to chase a dream, praying to make some money because otherwise, what the hell am I doing? How am I gonna, pay for this? It was a whole other kind of thing. And knowing that you can't really rely on your parents because they were going through their whole thing. So just walking around the city and even the way French people are, which I've learned to appreciate. And today, by the way, it's very different. But back in the day, I remember landing and I got a sheet of castings that I had to go to and a bunch of meetings. And you go to the agency, they give you the metro map and then the addresses, and they're like, okay, go. We don't have a metro system in Israel. I have no idea what it was, what I'm supposed to go and do. So when I got out of the agency, walked down the street and started asking people, no one would talk to me. Like they would just answer in French and were kind of upset that I'm even approaching them in English. So, that was kind of a big reality check, a slap to my face, a moment where I was like, oh, okay, I'm alone in this. And it felt very empty. But I don't want to make it a sad story because it's not, because that was the beginning of kind of this inner revolution and inner curiosity, inner searching for all the tools that I needed to support myself through that transition. But it was just such a crazy experience. And I feel like I've dealt with a lot of those things. I compartmentalized it for my own self. And then I really approached it with humor a lot of the times because, well, it's also how I deal with things in general. But yeah, a lot of those moments were very much absorbed and processed in that way. As I was walking, actually with Celine, we are walking down the street and there was this metro station because I'm trying to really showcase how many memories just started popping up randomly to me. We were walking down the street and I'm pointing at this metro station and I was like, oh yeah, that's where I got sexually harassed, and just like, ha, and kept going. And Celine is like, I'm sorry, what? Like, oh yeah. And that was the age of 16. Like, so many things happened. Paris was a big slap to my face and a big realization that I no longer live in my bubble. The ability to experience all of that in such a short period of time, because I was there for about a month or two. At the age of 16 alone, it shaped me so, so much. So, if it's between being harassed on the street, which was an unfortunate, but I feel like also a common thing, unfortunately, in Europe. I was actually walking up the metro stairs and I was on my way to a casting and I was wearing a dress, and this guy just kind of slipped his hand under my skirt, and I remember screaming and just kind of shocked looking around, and people just kept walking. So at the age of 16, when you experience these things, you really start looking at the world differently, and my naivety was taken away at a very young age. I think also experiencing living in an model apartment, which was, how most models live. When you get to a new city, an agency is taking care of your living arrangements. The way it works is that they're basically billing you for that, but they take out the rent from your earnings, right? So you don't have to pay up front. There were times where it was just 3 girls, but most of the time it was 8 to 10 girls. Imagine yourself, 8 to 10 girls, all coming from different countries, different backgrounds, all kind of cramped in an apartment. I remember vividly, we were like 4 girls in a room. It had its own dynamic. Like, a lot of the girls tried to kind of stay away from each other's paths, not to get into kind of any drama, because again, you're looking and you are in a situation where it's girls coming from poor backgrounds, and everybody has this insane hunger to succeed because this is their only way. Some of them, this is the way they were feeding their families. They would send money back from their modeling jobs. So a very interesting environment that I learned to navigate. It also taught me about the different kind of lives people live, although I didn't grow up necessarily wealthy or well off, but we were okay. I never had to think about, feeding my family or things like that. So all of a sudden, seeing girls coming from really poor towns and countries and families, and just their survival skills, it was very eye-opening for me. And I met some great friends, and I also had a lot of incidents where I learned how to use my voice. I'll give you one it's still such a good story that I share with my kids all the time because I'm trying to teach them how important it is to speak multiple languages. So, of course, when I moved to the apartment, I grew up in Israel. I tell them I'm from Israel. And there were a lot of Russian girls in that apartment specifically. And I just remember how they were sitting and just talking shit about all the girls in the apartment in Russian, but about all the girls that are not Russian speakers. And they didn't know that I speak Russian. I was just kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt, whatever. I didn't say anything. And then at some point, I think a week in, after multiple days of this, they were again started making remarks about me or about other girls. And I just kind of stood up and I said in Russian, like, what is this behavior? Like, why are you guys being such bitches? Like, we all need to exist together here. And I just remember they were so shocked. And that was a really proud moment for me. So there were a lot of great, great memories. I was partying, I was drinking, I was underage, living my best life, I gotta say. That's why when people are like, oh, you got married so young, don't you feel like you missed out? I'm like, girl, I've been out in the clubs, in the streets since the age of 15. So I'm good. I had my share. It was a really amazing time that left me with a whole lot of trauma, but also a whole lot of lessons. So Paris Fashion Week, people go there to like focus on being part of this shiny world. And I go to Paris and it just kind of brings me back to the beginning of time for me. And I truly love that. I feel like it brought me some kind of a closure in a way. I don't know why this time, maybe again, because it kind of correlated with this 35th birthday. And I do feel like this birthday was a big shift. This age is a big shift for me. It was exactly what I needed. But I gotta say, some of the girls that I lived with, one of them is Marta Hunt. She did really well. And I still sometimes like will see some of the girls that I met throughout the years that I lived with, if it was in Japan or in Spain or in Paris or in London. I see them here and there, and it's really cool to see how everybody either left and went into different professions or continued and really built like a beautiful career for themselves. That always kind of is a nice thing to see, especially when I just randomly find them on social media. A lot of the girls that I met impacted me immensely. I think that although Paris was my first introduction to the fashion world, it was Japan that really gave me the opportunity to learn to enjoy it and to really soak it in and to not take it so seriously. When you work in, Paris or New York, it does feel like you're so immersed in that world and it feels so serious to you and it's like your only opportunity. But then when we went to Japan, you don't understand what they want from you. There's a translator with you all the time. So you just kind of like show up and otherwise you just party, you just have fun, you go out. They really take care of everything there for you because they drive you, they take you to castings, they present you in front of clients because it's a completely different culture. So Paris kicked my ass and then I went to Japan and I was like, oh, okay, this is not so bad. And I feel like a lot of models kind of existed like that, career-wise. They would spend their time in Europe and get humbled, and then they'll go make great money, have fun, party in Japan. And that was kind of the cycle of it. But times have changed a lot. I have to be honest, like just keeping up with or even chatting with some newer models and how the industry works today, I really was part of the golden era, I have to say. No one expected you to have social media portfolios. No one expected you to honestly do anything. You were just showing up and make sure that you hit poses and you're good to go. Now it's very, very different and the money's not so good. So, okay, so enough about the modeling days. I just wanted to give you just a little bit of a taste because it came up for me. But something that also came up for me on this Paris trip that was really interesting. I was at lunch with a group of girls and I asked everybody what are they reading, and I'm always collecting different recommendations, and everybody's like throwing just really good deep self-development books, and I just looked at everyone and I was like, okay, all of that is cool, but my brain is tired. I feel like I'm getting that brain stimulation from everywhere, and that's the least of my problems, to try to get more information from like that. So I'm like, give me something, I need something juicy. And all of a sudden one of them said, you know what, my sister is actually really into smut books, I guess it's what it's called, just like sexy literature. And I was like, okay, tell me more, I'm all ears. And she sent me this one author. Her name is Elsie Silver. I was like, okay, let's try it out. So I downloaded this book, and she has a series of books. Guys, I finished probably like a book a day. That's how intense it was for me. And I loved it. I loved it. And it took me down a whole other rabbit hole. Aside from all the literature, similar literature that I found, first of all, I realized that it's a whole genre that is out there, and it's like the secret society no one talks about. Hello. But then when I went on TikTok and I put the right words in the search box, I understood that it's there if you're looking for it, okay? Like looking at this type of books, it reminded me of like an image of like women in their midlife crisis that are reading these romance sexy books with like Fabio on the cover. Like that was what I thought that genre is about, and it changed so much. Thank goodness for new voices out there, and it is so good. And I've realized that there's a reason why at that table I was like, okay, all this self development is great, but like I need something else, because what I needed is something that will connect me back to the body, something that will be exciting, that will be thrilling. Like I need sensuality rather than more brain optimization literature. You know what I mean? Boy, did I get that. So went deep into this smut books. I need to find a new name. I don't like the word smut. I don't even understand what it means. But sexy literature books, and I'm still in it, and it's been amazing. And I feel like it started getting me into other things that really encouraged me to connect to my body. These books were just a portal to a whole other world. So now I'm all about spreading the word, sending reading assignments to all my friends, and you are part of that friend group, my community. Just getting women to explore it. It's very different, and you, in a way, need to redefine it for yourself because, again, my view of that genre was just very old school, and you just learn to take what you need to take. Also, while I was out there exploring that whole genre of like grown women literature, I also stumbled upon this app that's called Quinn. Okay, this is Quinn. My mind is blown because it's basically porn for women, but like audible version. It's phenomenal. It's so cool to see the progress we've made in that whole arena because I feel like women's pleasure is not something that's been ever really prioritize, and seeing now a lot of these female initiatives that are taking place, whether it's the books, the authors, the app builders, the product builders, all these people are all women that are now standing up and being like, okay, it's time for us to put things out there for the girlies. And I appreciate that movement, and I'm here to support it, and I'm here to spread the word on it because it's amazing. This app Quinn is basically a storytelling app. So it is truly built for like the woman's brain. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. They also have some like famous actors that are doing some of the storytelling. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. If they're raising money, let me know, okay? Which brings me to the next activity I've done, which is taking a heels class. Heels class, my friends, is something that every woman should do. I'm going to be a spokesperson, and my friends will tell you that they're sick of me already because it's all I talk about and send them links and books and all these things. Heels class is another opportunity for us to reconnect with our bodies. I feel like something that's missing for us women in today's time and age is more practice of like indulgence and fun and connecting to our bodies. And it manifests itself in so many positive ways in your life when you're doing that for yourself. I honestly think that it's been doing really great stuff for my marriage as well. And I'm only sharing it with you because I always get messages, always being like, hey, I've been married also for 12 years, for 13 years. Like, how do you keep it hot? How do you keep it sexy? And, it goes back to you. It's like how you feel with yourself, what you let your body experience. Like all of these things really matter. And unless you activate yourself, no one else can activate you. Honestly, that's the honest truth. So listen to me, heels class. If you are listening to this, you need to find one in your city. You need to buy those Amazon dancing boots and you need to go. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel humbling as hell. And you're going to see how disconnected you are from your body, because that's what happened to me. I'm fucking tortured. Like, why are my hips so tight? Like, in my head, I can do all of this and then some. And then in reality, you're like, oh, oh, there's a lot of screws that needs to like get oiled up. You know what I mean? Because it's a little rusty. So you learn how to like move your body in such a sensual way. But not only that, it's also an opportunity for you to really disconnect. I guess it's like with exercise, with anything else, but it just feels like a very feminine way to do it, right? Because when I exercise, I do weights, I do things that don't necessarily feel like so fluid and flowy. And that was exactly that. And honestly, it doesn't have to be heels. It can be a dance class in general. But I do feel like that is so important to do. And now that I think about it, did you know that in the Russian culture, I feel like every person I know, they used to dance since they were little girls. And I always find that with Russian women, by the way, I was never sent to do that. My mom really messed up with that one. But whenever I watch Russian women, I do find that they have certain like way of moving and carrying themselves that is a little bit different than other people, than myself, let's say. So I don't know if it's connected, but I will find out and let you know. But anyways, this is the era we're in now. I've been in my sensual era before, but it was kind of like a sappy sensual era. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just very introspective and very emotional. And I feel like this one is a little bit different. It's a little bit different. And my mother told me about this time, actually. She told me at the age of 36, you're going to be like, what is happening? You just kind of have a fire that's lit in you, and I don't know why. I need to look into it more. But I'm basically on like a mission every day to live in a sensual way, where when I do things, what I listen to, the way I don't know, touch stuff, how I dress, like all of that is now a very big component in my thought process. Because again, it's the environment that I want to create for myself. I've been feeling myself and it's been feeling really nice. So highly recommend. So that's kind of where I've landed. This is where my focus has been in the past couple of weeks, just my curiosity taking me places, and one conversation that opened a whole other world to me. It's really cool and exciting, and I love learning new things, and I love learning new things that make me show up better for myself and for my family and for my husband. So it's been awesome. I hope you're going to join me, because I think that a revolution is coming. I'm making it very big, but you know what? I am curious to hear from you. I do have a range of women that are listening to the podcast from different age groups, and I'm so curious to hear if, first of all, that age, like 35, 36, if something snapped, something revealed itself, and then also if you do practice any of these sensuality connected, like body and mind type of exercises, if it's through hobbies, dance, whatever it is, like I need to know. Let me know. And what also very much inspired me in the heels class is watching other women being so free and so immersed in the experience and the way they moved. I don't think we have a lot of environments that make us feel comfortable, to dance a certain way, to move a certain way, to feel ourselves to that extent. And that was actually so beautiful to watch. I went with my friend Alex, and when we left, that was the one thing we both looked at each other. We were like, wow, I'm so inspired by these women that like threw themselves on the floor and they just like feel, the music, and the body just feels it. So we signed up for a program, okay? We're on this journey together. I definitely recommend you guys to check it out. And this is it. This is where I'm going to leave it at, because I don't have anything else to say, okay? I feel like I gave you enough homework and enough thought starters for your day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always remember, you are not alone.